Professional mixed martial arts is the pinnacle of fighting, but it's not the pinnacle of unmixed martial arts. For that, we have the Olympics. And before the 2024 Paris Games kick off in July, Total Combat is going to take you through the 6 types of unarmed combat. And for this episode, we're hitting the mats with Judo. As an unarmed martial art, Judo's history is short and unorthodox. First created in Japan in 1882 by Dr. Kano Jigoro, the sport was an evolution of traditional jiu-jitsu, but with a twist. As with wrestling, Kano emphasized sparring over the memorized forms or kata that you see in karate. But his intention was to remove the most violent aspects of jiu-jitsu, which were the hand-to-hand combat techniques of ancient samurai warriors. This is what gave his version the name, Judo, meaning the gentle way. But that's a bit of a misnomer. Just ask anyone who's been thrown head over heels flat onto their back. Judo became popular in Europe, and particularly France in the late 20th century, becoming the first martial art widely practiced outside of Japan. So when the IOC were looking to expand into new markets, Judo was an immediate possibility for a new sport. In 1964, the Olympics went to Tokyo, and that year was the first Olympic Games to be televised internationally by satellite. It was the perfect opportunity to introduce new sports, and Japan got to introduce 2 of their most beloved, in volleyball, which is fine, and Judo, which is awesome. Sumo would have been nice too, but sumo isn't the most globally practiced sport you can think of, and Japan would have crushed all comers. Then again, that's sort of what happened anyway. When it debuted in Japan, there were only 4 events, all for men, and the host nation almost scored a clean sweep. Today, Japan is still the most successful nation in the sport's history, with almost twice as many medals as the next best country. That's France, who are led by the sport's most successful Olympic judoka, 3-time gold medalist, Teddy Riner. The combat zone, or tatami, is a 10 by 10 meter synthetic mat surrounded by a 4 meter safety zone. Bouts consist of 1 4-minute round, and judokas wear judo gis, which are jackets and trousers made of thick cloth, one blue, the other white, to distinguish the athletes. The objective of judo is pretty simple. Throw your opponent to the ground and immobilize them with a pinning hold. Or force them into submission with a joint lock or choke. Even simpler, though, is the scoring system, because the maximum score an athlete can achieve is 1. Thanks to this, there are no runaway victories or humiliating defeats, which tells you a lot about the ethos of the gentle way. For the combatants, victory is as important as in any other sport, but philosophically at least, the result should not come at the cost of the etiquette, the honor, and the respect for your foe. In fact, a judoka can be disqualified for deliberately hurting an opponent. While the athletes have a deep will to win, the philosophy of the sport is built less around defeating the opponent and more around executing the perfect throw or hold. That throw or hold is called an ippon, and it is worth the full 1 point. An ippon is scored by throwing the opponent onto his or her back on the floor using considerable strength, speed, and control. In holding, an ippon is scored when the opponent is immobilized for 20 seconds, or submits due to the application of an arm lock or stranglehold. Once an ippon is scored, it's game over. The other score is a waza-ari, worth half a point. This is awarded when a judoka almost scores an ippon, but not quite. It can occur in throwing when the opponent's back might not completely hit the floor, or in a hold when an immobilization might last only 15 seconds. 2 waza-aris equals 1 ippon, so when 2 are scored, the match is over. But if scores are tied at the end of 4 minutes, the match continues until the next golden score. A penalty, known as a shido, can be awarded against athletes for minor rule infringements such as time wasting or prolonged periods of non-aggression. It's a 3 strikes and you're out situation, with 3 shidos resulting in a disqualification. A major rule infringement for foul play, though, known as a hansoku make, incurs automatic disqualification. In terms of mixed martial arts, you might think a sport named the Gentle Way would be almost useless. You'd be dead wrong. Just ask Khabib Nurmagomedov, or anyone with the last name Nurmagomedov, or just about any fighter from Russia. Combat Sambo, which is the sport of Khabib, Fedor Emelianenko, and Islam Makhachev, is heavily influenced by the superb throws and submission holds of Judo. You watch any Russian fighter competing at a high level in MMA today, and you're going to see techniques pulled straight from the Olympic Judo playbook. They're just mixing in strikes to get close enough to execute the trips and throws. But if you're really looking for the effectiveness of judo and mixed martial arts, you look to the Olympic silver medalist Ronda Rousey, who brought women's MMA to the world by utterly dominating the UFC women's bantamweight division. And the two-time Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison, who became the PFL's first ever two-time season champion. You watch these ladies literally toss opponents around, and you quickly understand how effective the Gentle Way really can be. And if they got their start at the Olympics, the Paris Games might be the start of the next MMA superstar's legendary career.
Thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.